Good morning, everyone.
Good morning, Rabbi.
A good Tavach Shavua Tov. We are learning Parak Dalet. We're learning Mishna Kiddushin, Parak Dalet, Chapter 4, Mishnah Dalet, Mishnah 4. So the Mishnah begins like this. Hanoisei Isha Kehenis. If a person is marrying a daughter of a Kohen, Tzarech Livdoich Achareha Arba Imoi Shein Shmoina. You have to check into her lineage by determining that 4 of her female ancestors, which really comes out to be 8, Shahin Shemona, that are 8, are okay. Now what that means is like this, okay? He is marrying the daughter of a Kohen. So the Mishnah is telling us you have to check into her lineage by determining, you have to check into her lineage. Why are you checking into her lineage for? So the explanation is, the Kohen has to make sure that the woman is not a Chalala, whom a Kohen is forbidden to marry. Right? Maybe her father is a Kohen and her mother is not supposed to be married to him. Maybe she's a divorcee. Okay? And that would make her a Chalala, which would mean that he who is a Kohen would not be allowed to go ahead and to marry her. So he therefore has to make an investigation into this woman. Now, the Bartanura tells us that the investigation is necessary is because there's a rumor going around that there's a problem here. It's not like, it seems like if there's no rumor, no one has any problems, no one says there's any problems, you don't got to do anything. Go in and get married to her. But if there's already a rumor that there's a problem here in the family, that there's some kind of a disqualification in her and her family, therefore that's when you got to check. Now, once the rabbis required a Kohen to investigate whether she is a Chalala, meaning you're searching for specific things if she's a Chalala, right? It means the father married somebody he's not allowed to marry, or a grandfather married somebody he's not allowed to marry. They added that he must also investigate whether she is a Mamzeres. And he's got to check for 2 things. Once you got to check if she's a Chalala, then they said check for the possibility of Mamzeres too. In fact, to continue here, even a non-Kohen is forbidden to marry a Mamzeres. Nevertheless, since a non-Kohen does not need to check whether she is a Chalala, because a non-Kohen can marry a Chalala, he need not check her at all, even to verify that she's not a Mamzeres. So it's interesting. Once there is this halacha, this law, to check that she's that check for perhaps she's a Chalala, perhaps she's not allowed to marry a Kohen, now you got to go checking even further to see maybe there's more problems than just Chalala. Maybe there's Mamzeres problems here. But that's only because you're starting with an obligation to check. If there's no obligation to check for Chalala, then there's no obligation to check more. That's the halacha. Okay, so this is the situation. He's marrying her. He's got to check her out. Got to check her out for being a Chalala. Got to check her out, make sure she's not a Mamzeres. And the reason you're checking here is, again, as they say here on the bottom, right from the Rav, it's because there are rumors. There are rumors that there could be problems here. And therefore, you got to check. Now, so what do you got to check? So the way the Mishnah lays it out is very interesting. It says, Arba Imois, there's 4 mothers that are kind of, let's call it theoretically the starting point. And then there are going to be each one of their mothers. So you're starting up with 4, which comes out to be 8. Okay, now the Mishnah is going to go through them, and now we should be following in the diagram. So look at diagram A. Okay, diagram A. Okay, so we start off, in the bottom is the circle that says woman, right? That's the one that he wants to marry. So we say like this, you got to check Ima, her mother. See that to the left, the dark one? I apologize to the people listening online that I can't pick up, I'm not picking up this diagram, but it's pretty small to see anyway.
Good.
Okay, so you have the woman, and then you have her mother. Right? You see that? You have her mother. That's Ima, her mother. Then you have the Aim Ima, her mother's mother. Going up another one to the left. You see that? Right? Aim Ima. Okay? So far we have 2. Right? Now we have the Aim Avi Ima V'Ima. And then we have the father of the mother's father and her mother. Right, so if you go looking again at again Aim Avi Ima, right? the mother of the father of her mother, v'ima and her mother. So you see, you've got that square, right? That square that says mother's father. You see it now, and going up. That's that going up the mother's father's mother, and then one more, her mother, right? So we have a total now of 4, starting from the woman's mother. Now we got to go to the woman's father, okay, and that's to the right of the chart. Then we have the aim of via the ima, the mother of her father and her mother. See that? And then we have the aim of via the ima. Then we have the mother of the father's father and her mother. Right? Here's the father's father, right? Father's father, the father's mother and her mother. These are all the ones that are mentioned here in the Mishnah. Again, I apologize to those who are listening online. They don't have the chart in front of them, but like I say, I can show you the picture quickly here in the art scroll. This is the picture about how to see, how to follow the chart to see the relatives that the Mishnah mentions. Now, then the Mishnah concludes, Leviah v'Yisraelis. Now, let's say the Kohen wants to marry the daughter of a Leviah or Yisrael, a daughter of a Levi or Yisrael. Okay, now, if it's a daughter of a Levi Yisrael, right, there's no halala problem. There's no halala problem. There's no issue about a Levi who he marries, or Yisrael who he marries, as long as it's not a mamzer, right? But what would make a problem of a halala for a Kohen isn't going to make a problem for Yisrael. So if the Kohen wants to marry the daughter of a Levi, daughter of Yisrael, where there's no halala problem that emerges from them, what problem could though emerge? Mamzeris, right? Mamzeris could be a problem. If somebody didn't get divorced properly, or if somebody married the very wrong person, all this can create a situation of mamzeris. So now, if you're talking about the daughter of a Levi Yisraelis, by Sif and Alem Oid Achas, we add one more mother to each one that we had before. That's what it means. We add one more we add one more generation of female ancestors to those who must be checked for a total of 12 ancestors. It's a total of 12. Now that is diagram B. Diagram B we see where you have those circles with the white circles with the lines around them. It's not a solid line, it's like broken lines, right? All those are one more mother to the mothers that were mentioned before. Okay? You have the mother's mother and her mother, right? You have the mother's father's mother, her mother, and then her mother, and the same thing on the side by the father, right? There was the father's mother, her mother, those were the originals. Now you're adding one more, her mother. And then the same thing by the father's father, where you had the father's mother and her mother, you add one more mother. And again, this is all, you see these all, here in the diagram. Okay. And again, that's diagram B. Okay?
Did you make a copy of this for tomorrow?
We did it. We're not doing this tomorrow. We're done with this.
All right.
And then the last thing that we're going to mention is the fact that why here when you're marrying the Leviah, the Yisraelis, why when you're marrying the daughter of the Levi, the daughter of Yisrael, why here do you have to check one more? Why do you have to check more? And the explanation is, since Kohanim are more restricted in whom they may marry, they were generally more careful about whom they married, and thus disqualifications, their lineage, were less common than in families of non-Kohanim. So because basically they have to be more careful about who they marry, they were more careful about who they married, and therefore, if you need to, when the Chachamim said the man should check, he checks so far. But once you're dealing with the daughter of a Levi, the every Yisrael that aren't restricting their marriage, therefore they weren't necessarily as careful as the Kohanim. You got to check one more generation to make sure that everything is good, is kosher. Have a wonderful day. Thank you very much.